Like, we're not hand polishing components, putting the anglage on, like doing all of that like fancy decoration of the movement. But I would say our craft in the printing is of a comparable kind of skill level and complexity, but we're doing it for a really affordable price point. That was really important to me personally. Like, I never had the sense that I wanted to make watches that I could only sell to really wealthy people.
We have a very exciting episode for you. We are with the great, famous Mr. Jones in his workshop. And we're talking to him about his watches, looking how he makes it all, and there's just so much exciting stuff coming from this episode. But we always start every episode with a wrist check. And so here we go. You ready?
Yeah.
3, 2, 1, go. Ta-da!
Nice. I did not know you were wearing that.
How fabulous is that?
Excellent.
And we both have, I think, Mary Calvert, who designed motorways.
Are you making Margaret Calvert?
Margaret
French?
Calvert, yes.
Marie Calvert.
Calvert, Madame Calvert, who did a British motorway signs, I think in 1965.
Could be like late 50s is when they did the first road signs. Motorways are probably early 60s, yeah. I technically have the only mechanical one though.
Oh, wow.
So originally we thought it would be like a mechanical watch. I actually thought it would be like a higher price point mechanical watch. And Margaret felt very strongly, she said, like, I design stuff for everyone to see, like road signs. Like, the idea of doing a higher price point thing is anathema to me. Similarly, like a limited edition we wanted to do, like normally any watch we release comes out as a limited edition. She was like, I'm not the limited edition person, I'm like the mass person. So she was like, I don't want to do a limited edition, I think it's really pretentious. So we were like, okay, we won't do the limited edition, we won't do the higher price point.
And that wasn't rehearsed, just a pure love. So
I didn't even notice that you were wearing.
Tell me about the young Crispin.
Okay, where do you want to start? Like, I wanted to be an artist originally, so my background is in fine arts. I have an undergraduate degree in sculpture. I graduated from an undergraduate course in sculpture and realised it was quite difficult to make a living as a sculptor. So I then went to a master's in a course called computer related design. This was late 1990s. What computer related design really was creative use of technology. So at that time, technology meant web and a little bit of like mobile phone stuff, but sort of early green screen, Nokia, monochrome sort of idea of mobile technology. But it was a really interesting course and a really experimental course at that time.
Now, what I love about you is one of the ones your feet on the ground. I love CEOs who actually kind of know their sort of basis and know their craft. So for me, I cooked and I've chosen wines, and so therefore, I know my craft. Now you know your craft. Now this baby, this is another one that I think you did yourself.
I thought you were going to get me to repair it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Would you mind? So actually, this one here, look, it was engraved. I thought this about 5 years ago. So this wonderful piece here, what I love is it just amuses me throughout the day just to kind of go. You talk through it. This is your baby.
Sure. No, like, genuinely, I did design this. So it's called Sun and Moon. Like, I guess one of my interests with watches and watchmaking is the kind of history of it. So and kind of that was my route in. I was really fascinated when I came across Sun and Moon pocket watches, and one thing that I felt was kind of unsatisfactory with them though was that the hour like aperture tended to be in the center, and then the minute hand passed over that to show around the edge. So I thought, why not just reverse that? Okay, the convention is the minute hand is longer than the hour hand, but it's really clunky to have the hand passing in front of your sort of pictorial bit. But then I thought you could do a nice thing with, like, okay, so a traditional Sun and Moon pocket watch would have the sun and the moon, maybe some stars, but basically that would be the extent of the illustration. But I thought, what if you put different animals that might relate to those different times of day around the dial? So there's like the cat at dusk, and there's the owl at, in the early hours of the morning, and the birds in the daytime and stuff.
Couldn't but though talk about this piece because we are both avid dog lovers, I just want you to bring this back out so we can get one for Maya, our Poochie. I love the cue. I think this thing is a wonderful thing. There's just so much about man and dog, your best friend, which I think is truly stunning. So come on, I know you never released this, but I love the humour of this. I just simply adore the thought process.
So we had an idea one year to do an April Fool's where Stanley was printing and making the watches, and then we were thinking, well, what, like Stanley wouldn't make one of our watches because that's not meaningful to him. Like his day is not divided into the hours like ours is. So we thought, well, Stanley's day is basically food, walkies, treat, sleep. So that would just be the points on the dial. Like he wouldn't need to know anything else. Like what time of day? Oh, it's about sleepy time. Okay. So that was the 4 points on it. But did you see the video where we did like a sort of clunky thing where Stanley's pretending to print, but then we've got a soft toys paw like pressing buttons and things. So it looks really crude, but it was fun to make.
I am Kate Heath. I am print team manager. I have been here for 2 years. I come from a printmaking background. Over at this site, we work with about 12 permanent collection. We do a lot of the sampling of the watches here. So each watch comes with a series of different etched plates. It's all from the art workers. Like an artist will give us a piece of art and then it will be separated into as many layers as it needs to be. Usually we try and reduce stuff. This watch is 14 layers. The most we've done, I think, is 23 layers on a watch component. Mix all of our colours here. We use a Pantone system, and then we have a coats Excel sheet which allows us to like mix them incrementally. And this is our large collection of inks. But yeah, so once we've made our plates, they're loaded onto these magnetic ink cups, which are then loaded onto the press. Take, usually with like a glass, or some of our different components will take a black line and then progressively fill it with a colour, but with each colour. But a lot of it is lining up incrementally and moving back and forth.
What's your favourite watch?
I've actually got it on me now because I wore it today. It was printed just before I started, and it's Adriana Dinku, who hopefully will be working with her again. But yeah, it's a really lovely watch. It's about female rage.
We do all our printing and assembly in-house ourselves. We buy in cases and movements because our sense is always that we want to add value where it's meaningful for us. Like, okay, for us to go down the route of making a watch case, it implies like huge amount of investment in machinery, and I'm not sure we'd do it much better than all the other watch case factories out there. Whereas the printing, I feel like we used to do all our printing and assembly in China. We used to email off designs, get the samples back and stuff, and I actually really loved the quality and the process. Like, it was all really smooth. My frustrations were twofold. Like, one, I'd do a design, or we'd do a design, and we'd send it off, and then we wait 8 to 10 weeks and we get the sample back, and then we'd spend about 15-20 minutes like tweaking the design, and then wait another 8 to 10 weeks either for a further round of samples or for the production. And my frustration was just like how long that is, and you lose all the kind of enthusiasm and the momentum for like making the design. The other frustration I would come up against is the factories would say, if there's a design with like 10-12 colours on a component, they say, it's really too many for us. Like, we like to cap colours about 7 or 8. Okay, we could squeeze them and they'd maybe do 10. But they really didn't like it. They really made it difficult. The setup time for a different colour is where all of the labour goes into the printing. But so we wanted to just have that freedom to be able to make watches with as many colours as we wanted to. The vast majority of our watches are under £250.
Yep.
And I guess what's unusual about that as well is that we're really invested in our craft of making the watches ourselves. I would say, and as I was saying on the workshop tour, like assembly, for sure we're really proud of it, and we're really proud of the skill that goes into that. But loads of people can do watch assembly. Yeah. Like, I feel like our real thing that we do that's distinctive is the printing. I don't feel that there's really any other watch company out there that does the printing, like the layers of colour, the complexity of the print designs, and also the gilding that we do on the glasses. I guess one of the one of the messages that's quite difficult to communicate is like craft is correlated with luxury in the watch industry. Like craft equals high price point. It has to, like, that's what the Swiss have told us for like a generation. And I don't really subscribe to that. Like, we're doing craft not in the same way that the Swiss are. Like, I never had the sense that I wanted to make watches that I could only sell to really wealthy people. I wanted to sell watches to my peers, and I didn't have peers who would spend thousands of pounds on a watch. I had peers who would spend a couple of £100 on a watch and, you know, make it like a considered purchase, not as like a throwaway thing. For a lot of years, we thought of ourselves as not really a watch company, because we thought, really, people are not going, shall I buy a Rolex or a Mr. Jones watch? That's not the thought process. They're like, shall I buy this pair of trainers, or shall I buy a Mr. Jones watch? Shall I buy a new jacket or a Mr. Jones watch? It was much more that kind of decision process.
Hi, I'm Nell. I'm head of production here at Mr. Jones Watches. I've been with the company for 5 years. I have a background in print, and I'm just going to talk through some of the sampling process that we go through to get to new designs and re-releases. This is the most recent release for Milagritos. You kind of see there, again, we've got the black and white sample. This one actually underwent quite a lot of changes from the original. So as you can see, it's actually got a lot of art on the dial in this one, and on the heart itself there's a lot more detail than on the final version. So yeah, this one went through a lot of changes. This was like a really early glass sample. You can see it had detail around the edge of the glass. It hasn't got any gilding on it, which we felt like it really needed that to enhance it. And again, this is very much a collaboration between us and the print team and the production team and the artist. So in this case, a lot of suggestions are made around how can we make this really work and sing as a design. So in this case, we really want to focus on how can we make that heart look really nice and dynamic, and not make it not look so flat. To be honest, it's very much the favourite part of the print process for a lot of our technicians. It's a very enjoyable process. It of course has its own stresses and it has its own challenges, but it's something that the print techs and lots of the production team really enjoy. There we go. So this is the final. We can also see here there's a sort of brass coated on the dial there. So this is like a sort of starburst effect, much similar like to the Accurate watch. I just feel like this really enhances the design, and you can see a lot of the gilding there on the flames. Lovely.
Okay. What's your favourite Mr. Jones watch?
My favourite Mr. Jones watch is the Indefatigable Sphinx. This was a watch designed by Edward Carvello Monaghan. He does really beautiful Dali-esque sort of surreal designs. He's done quite a few designs for us over the years, and this one was really very much a celebration of all of his work and very much a technical challenge for us. It's got 26 colours on the dial. It was very technically challenging to print, but a very enjoyable print as well.
So I want to talk about vintage for a little bit.
Cool.
I was just watching last night the video where you talk about pocket watches, and actually that was really fascinating. As you know, our name is touchmyclock, so anything that is also outside of the wristwatch we find fascinating, the history of that coming through. What is your relationship to the pocket watch and to vintage watches in general when it comes to your own designs? Because what I found interesting was some of your first watches had the crown at the top, which was almost reminiscent of pocket watches. But then there's also a lot of love I see from like Le Mania and from Dirty Dozen type watches. How does that come into the watch itself in your design process, or when you're involving designers? Is there something related? How's it all?
I mean, in the design process, less so. Like me personally, my route into vintage watches was, so I started off in 2007 designing a bunch of watches, like entirely on screen. I knew nothing about watches. Actually, I knew a little bit about watches. I had a Chromachron, which was designed by an architect called Tin Hartman in the 80s. Have you seen it?
Very
like,
cool.
This sort of pie-shaped thing with the colour dial. Actually, that was a really inspirational thing for me. Like, not for that specific design, but just for like, the watch doesn't have to be two metal hands and a dial with numerals around the edge. It could be wedges of colour. And he had like a really, I've got a one of the watches from the 80s that came with this book where he talks about his sort of theory of different colours for different times of day and stuff. Like, he had a whole sort of philosophy behind it, which is really cool. Like, and understanding that kind of enriched, like, my understanding of the watch and what it could be. So I started off, okay, that was about the extent of my knowledge of watches. After a couple of years of doing it, I thought, I feel like my lack of knowledge is kind of a hindrance in a certain way, and I would like to know more. And I guess just generally, I'm interested in the history of things and the history of technology. For when I was doing sculpture and interaction design, I was making a lot of small-scale electronic prototypes, so a lot of hand soldering on very small scale. So I was used to really fine sort of micro detail stuff. So I found Epping Forest Horological Centre, who run evening classes in watchmaking, like mechanical watchmaking. So for 3 years, I trekked all the way out to Epping on a Tuesday night between 6 and 9. I did the classes. It was kind of interesting. Like on day 1, there's like 15 people in the class. Week 2, there's like 8 people in the class. It's just week 3, there's like 4 of us. But I really enjoyed it, and so 6 till 9 once a week was the study period, but then I kind of set myself the task of servicing a mechanical watch each week, so that I would just get the experience of doing it. And okay, you can do the maths, 52 weeks in the year, there's quite a lot of watches I've got, which was kind of the reason we started selling them on the website. Specifically, what I value in vintage watches is kind of the mirror image of what we do. So I value high precision, manual wind, legible dial watches, which kind of quite naturally leads you to military watches, because they're all designed by some military committees, and they're zero interest in fancy dial tapes. Exactly, it's all about that sort of precision, like the precision of this mechanical watch.
My name is Sophia. I work for Mr. Jones Watches as Head of Customer Service, and this is our workshop where we dispatch everyone's orders, we quality check, we engrave, we box everything up, and then we send it out all over the world. So we really like to focus on customer communication. I am a big fan of human interaction, so no one chats to an automated bot. We don't use AI for our customer interaction. If you reach out to us, you speak to a human. So I love to make everything super efficient so that we have time to go above and beyond for people. Someone asks for a specific strap that we order in, or they want a custom engraving that's really like personal to them. They want their handwriting, whatever it is. We like to be able to do that. If someone sees something from the archives and they're like, oh, I wish you'd bring that back, I can be like, talking to assembly and be like, do you have any more components for this? So that's what we like to do. The watches are so incredible, and the production team are the cutting edge of their craft. So I think there's no reason that customer service shouldn't be the same, that we should represent the brand in a way that is at the cutting edge of customer service.
Yeah. What's your favourite watch from the Mr. Jones collection, or at least the one?
So my favourite watch from Mr. Jones, it's not the one I'm wearing actually. I do love this one. This is the Ladies Colour Van, which isn't actually available, but it was a sample from back in the day. But my favourite is the Ascendant. It's part of a collection of 4 watches designed by Marilyn Baz, who used to work for us as a gilding tech. It's both beautiful and emotional, which I really like.
Something I wanted to talk about, it's that you've released recently, it's just a change of case design. I mean, you've had the traditional case that have this way for so long, and I know you talked about, because you've done so many watch shows and from people's opinions, that you've changed it. Can you tell us a little bit about the new case design and how you went through it?
So I designed the original case in 2009, and it went through various evolutions along the way. Like, this is pretty close to the original case. It's got a 28.5mm glass, and our big change a few years ago was when we went to 32mm glass. You can see like an evolution there between those two, of like, the original one was a bit fussy, like there's a lot of metal around the glass, but that was all set by the factories. Told us quite early on that the biggest disc size the movement could drive was 25mm diameter, so we always stuck to that. And then we did tests where we were like, I don't know if that is the biggest disc it could drive, and we could get quite easily a 31mm disc, like reliably, like we weren't pushing things outrageously. But people did keep coming up and talking about the gap between the lugs and the case. I guess for me, that came from vintage watches, really. Like particularly brands like Longines used to do just quite stretched out cases. Like there used to be quite a gap between the edge of the case, but people have such strong opinions about it in a way that I find quite irrational. But they really strongly feel like that gap is something that would absolutely preclude them from ever owning that watch. Which, I mean, I've got an ego like anyone else, and like I was like, well, you're wrong, you're an idiot, and I'm right, and it's just a ridiculous thing. But okay, after I reflected on it a bit, I thought there's something wrong on us making a watch with a really distinctive case. You can get into that world of like, we need a really distinctive case because I'm a designer and it's kind of interesting intellectual challenge for me to design a weird watch case. But it's probably not the optimum thing. Like our thing is not about the watch case, our thing is about the watch face and the time telling function and stuff. So yeah, the new case is just much simpler, much more, you know, I don't want to say boring, but it's
a simpler design, which I think will cater for a lot of people. They'll prefer it. I think it's something amazing that a brand like yourself, you've now been able to collaborate with, you know, one of very big brands also that work in Britain, and now being nominated for a GPHG. I mean, yeah, yeah. I mean, how does that feel?
I mean, honestly, it feels weird. And like when we announced it in the Monday meeting, like we're not the company where that means anything, if I'm honest. So everyone was like, what is it? I was like, it's the Oscars of watchmaking. But like, yeah, like it's not. It's absolutely Chris Ford's world, and so I'm really proud for them that they've been nominated. Like I'm really proud for us that we're kind of hanging on their coattails. But I feel like it's more meaningful for them. Like of course it's meaningful for us, and it's a huge honour to have got through. And it's super disrespectful for me to like dismiss it like that for all the other brands who wanted to get in there. But honestly, it's been something led by Chris Ford. It wasn't on our radar at all. Like we weren't we never entered it. Like I don't even know how you enter. Exactly. So we're on Chris Ford's coattails.
Okay, awesome. Another thing is, I mean, I love the videos you put on your channel, the Tales of the Workshop. And something I really loved is, I mean, Jason talked about with the different designs, is that you make these, you let the employees on their anniversary make their own kind of style of the watch. I think that's a really nice touch. I was wondering, do you do that yourself?
Well, me personally?
Yeah, personally.
I mean, no. So that what happens is each year on the anniversary, an employee is allowed to pick like a new watch. Everyone gets a watch like after they pass their probation to wear and keep. It's always theirs. Like they never have to give it back. But what happened with that was a lot of the print technicians started going, I would like this watch, but I kind of think it'd be nicer if I did it in this different colorway. And then that kind of became a thing in the assembly side so the assembly technicians would be like to the printers, could you maybe do this one a bit different and stuff? And then it became kind of a formalized thing that they could specify like their own variation. One day we will do an episode on them, and I'll try to gather them all together because there are some
that would
nice,
be really cool to see all the different designs that have been done.
I'm really looking forward to the Touch My Clock collaboration. Awesome, it'd be so cool.
Don't hold your breath.
I mean, that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome. Like, thanks for coming in. Like, it's like we always say, it's really nice when we have visitors who come to the workshop who are really engaged with it and enthusiastic and want to hear about it. Like, here we go.
I love what you do, Ham. It's just so cool. It's just so, it's just fun. It's just brings so much life. It's brilliant. Well done.
Oh, very, very cool.
I think we need 4 of us in shot. Come on, next. You can do this. What? Oh, yeah.